Welcome back to Race Control on day 3 of leg 7. There were 3 lead changes within 12 hours last night, so let's get right into the racing. The breeze died for the teams overnight as they started to push more northeast, riding the strong currents of the Gulf Stream. First, Matt Frey took the lead, then Abu Dhabi, then Team Brunel seemed to find an extra gear or possibly stronger lane of current, slipping past Abu Dhabi and into the lead. They've had breeze from every direction. Different teams had different sail combinations within boat lengths of each other. They go from reaching downwind one wave to stuck head to wind the next. We called second place to Abu Dhabi to get a handle on it. It sounds like it has been really weird racing the last 24 hours. You guys had 4 boats in sight at one point with all different sail combinations up. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, no, it's been, pretty up and down the wind, very gusty, shifty, there's lots of clouds going through, and it's been hard to always be on the right sail for the sort of best average, if you see what I mean. And you're never going to be right all the time, so you have to kind of make your best guess at it. And if you're changing all the time as well, it obviously costs you miles, so you kind of have to back yourself a little bit. But no, it's been pretty tricky, and it's been pretty. There's a lot of clouds around. And it's getting very, very light as well. When we woke up this morning, it was pretty grey all around us, and boats were sort of getting scattered in all sorts of different directions. And yeah, now as it's starting to clear out, it's just very, very light wind, and we're waiting for the new breeze to arrive.
How do you think Brunel was able to get by you guys overnight? Was it just a cloud?
No, they have very good speed in the light. I think sort of consistently through the race, they've always been quite fast on the masthead zero, and they sort of managed a little bit ahead in whether it's a few good puffs or whatever it was, and then sort of found in one of themselves in one of those situations where the sort of rich get rich. This morning we had an extended period of being quite light, and the boats behind were catching up, and Brunel in front were sailing away in good breeze. So now they got a nice little jump. They got right side of a cloud line and managed to extend away.
Are the other boats in sight right now?
Yeah, we can see pretty much everyone. Fang are directly behind us, and SCA are sort of off our leeward quarter, and Alvamedica just sort of disappeared in a cloud. But we can see everyone. It's actually quite tricky at the moment because we're sort of trying to balance the big picture, where the new wind's going to come from when we get southwesterly in this approaching trough line.
After that, then you have the Azores High pretty much right in the way between you and Lisbon. Is there a thought process as to how to go around that at this point?
Yeah, I think the sort of strategy for the Azores High will be probably going over the top of it, and again it will be sort of going around a high pressure, so you'll be balancing, sort of staying away from the centre and having better wind and potentially better speed, but sailing further and getting less shift. So sort of how we shape up versus the other boats will dictate that.
9 years ago, you were on ABN AMRO 2 for this leg. Obviously a very different leg than the one you're experiencing right now, a very difficult experience for you guys. How does that affect your transatlantic crossing sense?
Yeah, I mean, certainly whenever I do a transatlantic, and especially in the Volvo race, it's always right around the time that we lost Hans in the 2005 race. So yeah, I always take a bit of time to think about that and think about him and his family, and yeah, it always it's always in the back of my mind, and no, it's always good to remember and spare a bit of time. And I know certainly from Maria, she always tells me to clip on and make sure I'm safe on this leg more than any other.
Well, and then speaking of Bauer and Team Brunel, you essentially, the second half of the leg was ABN AMRO rescuing Movistar. I think that happened tomorrow, 9 years ago. What was that like, the rescue of Movistar?
It was obviously another very stressful bit of a very leg for us in that race, but it was a very difficult 24 hours when we were sort of following them, didn't know what was going to happen and whether they were going to sink or not. But in the end, when we got all those guys on board our boat and we're heading for the UK, I think it was a great relief for us, and it was actually very good as well to see some friendly faces. I think they were quite pleased to see us, and we were quite pleased to see them after having such a difficult time. It was nice to sort of see some other people after what we've been through and sort of talk through it before we hit land. So yeah, it was obviously a difficult situation, but yeah, I have some fond memories actually of sailing with all those Movistar guys back to Falmouth where we dropped them off.
Clearly and understandably a difficult memory for Sci-Fi. Next up, we called Bauer Becking, who was skipper of Movistar that race, who's now leading this leg.
How did we get this lead during the night? I think we placed ourselves well compared where the current was, but I think another thing was it seems to be at night time we always sail the boat pretty well. The guys have been trimming good, and we actually sailed just 50 meters through the lee of Abu Dhabi and then sailed away from them, so in the same piece of water. So I think the trimming was crucial as well.
It's going to get quite tricky coming up navigationally. Do you guys have a strategy towards the Azores High, and do you think you can keep the lead?
Yeah, how are we going to handle the Azores High? That's the million-dollar question probably for this leg, because it's quite far up. It's in the Gulf of Biscay, and so you can go for the south. It's probably the shortest distance, but then you get a very bad angle, because if the high moves up, you get more like a northeasterly breeze on the southern end, and of course that's a bad angle going to Lisbon. So I think still we're going to go for a little longer route, play hopefully over the top, get a good angle, and yeah, basically sail fast to Lisbon.
We were just speaking to Sci-Fi, and this leg is clearly very different from the 2005-2006 edition. Do you ever reflect on that? Do you reflect on the sinking of Movistar?
Yeah, that's typical journalists. They always speak about Movistar, but I still see it like if you crash your car, you're not speaking a lifetime long about that you wrecked your car. So, but I haven't thought about it at all. Of course, at that time it was a shame because we were working for 2 years on a project. But I've never lay awake one night, and I will never in my life as well. So because yeah. I see a boat as a car, you use it, and you buy a new one if you wreck it.
Interesting from Bauer. Luckily for Team Vestas Wind, their boat wasn't lost at sea, so they've been able to rebuild it. Latest info from that team says it's getting on a truck and shipping out this weekend, so should be on time for Lisbon. We'll let you know more tomorrow in the next Inside Track.